experience the faith of the power of the East, the power of the luminosity that we see all around us, Father Sky, Mother Earth, and all things around us.
Just pulled over at the turnout today and have already enjoyed this morning, and I appreciate so much the blessing that we've received. And I want to acknowledge the James Council and Tribe for their support of this project. Thank you so much. OlyCAP for years has been involved in a number of programs that deal with food and with meals. We operate a food bank distribution warehouse where we collect and sort and distribute out to as many as 12 different food banks. We receive USDA commodities and other donated foods, and we purchase food for Central Buying Service, and we send out food to various food banks, including small community food banks, tribal food banks. We have a senior nutrition program, Meals on Wheels program, the sort of program that I've been directly involved in for many years, even though I'm now the executive director at OlyCAP. I have a real love for that program and interest in it. You can almost still say co-field with the number of people that we serve meals to in the course of the year. Food is a basic necessity, and if you don't think so, just wait around 3 or 4 hours. Food has to reach some sort of local market. It must be grown. It must be protected from the elements, protected from disease and bugs. It must be harvested, sometimes pre-prepared and then transported to the marketplace. Our food system, just like preparing a meal, if you think about it, our food system is very complex. Can we make it simpler? Can we make it friendlier? Can we enhance people's lives by overcoming local obstacles? Can we work together using local resources to help all of us? Keep that with your attention to our speakers and to your work in groups as we ponder these issues before us. There's a lot of brain power in here, in addition to hunger and so forth. There's a lot of brain power in here. And maybe you have some great ideas to help enhance the system of how we grow our food and how we share it with each other. And I want you to know that you can contact me. If you know folks who are struggling, we ask a big question at OlyCAP. Where do people hurt? And then we ask, what can we do about it? And so we develop local programs to help people in just about every aspect of their life. So enjoy the day. Thank you for being here.
I want to introduce our speaker, Ted Meader, from Crossroads Consulting in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and a true friend.
A few basic facts about the 2 counties working together as a bioregion. 90,000 residents earning $2 billion of annual income. There are some folks who might say this is a remote rural area that might not have much power over its life. Let's think of ourselves as people who spend $2 billion a year and want to spend that in smarter ways. With that background in mind, let's fall down and look at the food economy of the 2 counties a little more carefully. This data is old, 2002 agricultural census. We have a new one coming out in about a year. It was collected last year, so these things have changed a little bit, but this is the most precise number I can find today. 660 farm families, average farm size of 52 acres. 3 of every 4 farms this region is less than 50 acres in size. So very much based on small-scale agriculture. The average in Minnesota is going to be about 300 acres or so. It's a very different kind of style than I come from. 3/4 of all the farms sell less than $10,000 of raw products a year. So your food system is going to be built on that kind of small-scale activity, at least at the start. Only 7% of farms sell more than $100,000 a year. So you have some division between large and small farms, but predominantly these fairly small operations that still can make a very important contribution. You have only 2% of Washington's cropland in the state. As Catherine mentioned, 10% of the aquaculture in the state, 2% of cattle, a little bit less of fish sales than you might expect, and 4% of organic sales. Organics and direct sales are a rising force in PT even by 2002, well ahead of the rest of the country. Almost half the farms sell livestock. You can see the different crops here, a lot of forage crops. Again, you know this better than I do, but I wanted to set up those numbers as background for what we have. Almost a quarter of the farms sell directly to consumers. In fact, in the last Ag Census, 2 every 3 farms in this region reported a net loss to the USDA Ag Census. About a $278 million market for food in these 2 counties alone. And it's spent both eating at home and also eating out. But we also know that only $207,000 of food is sold directly from farmers to consumers. So largely, that money leaves the region each year. And I would say a very conservative estimate would be that consumers here spend about $270 million a year looking elsewhere for food, while other farmers nearby struggle. And this, of course, is the biggest strain on the economy in this region. The fact that people are going to eat and that food's going to come from somewhere else, while you have some farmland that's underutilized. Here's the market for food in this region. Most farmers, when I show a figure like $35 million market for meat, say that's a market worth going after. Because in the scale of our lives, that's quite a few people to feed, all within 2 counties of that farm. Or a market for vegetables, $29 million. How many of those vegetables and fruits could be produced in this county by people who live here or who could be encouraged to live here to really raise those products for local consumers? And then because Catherine has mentioned so many times, this used to be a really prime place for the Seattle market. I also want to calculate the Seattle market. They're buying $7 billion worth of food a year in the city of Seattle alone. And so how much of that market could farmers from here have to sell at the pipe market, to export to across the Sound to warehouses or to food buyers there? But a huge market for food, again, within kind of a crow's flight. In fact, the average item of food in the Midwest travels 1,500 miles between the producer and the consumer. So in my home state of Minnesota, a hog that's raised there will travel usually to Missouri to be processed in a big plant and brought back in a cardboard box in a chilled form. That means we have a lot of energy embedded in the cost of our food. As energy prices go up and as this transportation system gets more complicated, we're going to increasingly have trouble with that. In fact, right now, we spend 70% of all the energy we need in this country is devoted to our food system in some way. Either running our tractors, or hauling food around, or me cooking at home, or me going to the store to buy and pick up groceries in my car, and driving a very heavy vehicle to a car with 2 bags of groceries and bringing them back. $139 billion a year we spend as a society so we can eat. And how long can we afford $1 billion lost by the farmers raising crops and livestock, while they spend $13 million a year buying inputs from outside the region, while their neighbors buy $270 million worth of food from outside. Let's total those up. It turns out to be $280 million a year leaving this region just from the food economy, which is 16 times the value of all the products produced by all the farms in this region. And it's, of course, almost the same as the amount of food that's being eaten by all the people in the region. It's simply disappearing on an annual basis. So if you think of getting all of it together at the end of the year and shipping all the money you want to pay for food out of the region each year, that's what you're doing. And how long you want to keep doing that is a question only you can answer, because I can't tell you how long you want to afford that or what you want to do about it. But those are some big issues to wrestle with as you're talking today about planning for the future of food.
Well,